Moving on to Syria, where there's been more fighting between anti-government protesters and security forces. The UN says the death toll in the country has risen to 3,500 since the protests began in March. The government appears to have ignored an Arab League agreement on Wednesday to pull troops and soldiers off the streets. Well, earlier I spoke to Anas Shami. He's a Syrian member of parliament, and he says the troops are on the streets to keep the peace.
We were so glad to know that the Syrian government has accepted this agreement and the items of this agreement without any reservation. But we need also to ask the Arab League and the West as well to form a sort of a delegation to come and visit Syria from inside and to see all the Syrian territories, not only the hot spots in Syria. We need to know what's going on between the opposition in Syria and the government. The Syrian armed forces are doing the job of protecting the country. There are people there that don't want the stability in Syria. This is impossible to accept. And also, no one can accept the situation under the instability on the ground.
OK, did the government not agree in Cairo last week to take the tanks off the streets of Syria?
The Syrian government has agreed to withdraw its troops and tanks from the Syrian streets, but on the other hand, there are opposition and there are people who are carrying weapons and people who are willing the government to go and the toppling of the system and the regime over there. Those people as well has to be addressed and has to stop the agenda that is going against Syria and the Syrian government and the Syrian people at the same time. And I feel sorry to say that the situation as a whole is bad. We as Syrians, the Syrian people went to this situation, and the Arab League, as I said, has to form a delegation to go to Syria, inside Syria, and see the situation over there. And we need not items on paper, we need not agreement on paper, we need the implementation of this agreement. All these parties have to be, working to this end and to this conclusion.